Hi, I'm Cheryl Herman, and I'm a French teacher at Mishawaka High School in Mishawaka, Indiana. I have been a French and Spanish teacher for 30 years. I taught for 23 years in the South Bend schools, French and Spanish, and more of it was all Spanish or more Spanish. I in South Bend, I had to switch to 8 different schools. Sometimes it was my choice. Sometimes I was told I had to move at the last minute. Um, that was the majority of it. So I would have to switch buildings, switch types of students. I would have to change. I also had a little bit of background in making changes because when I was in college, I went to Strasbourg, France, and I had to be able to switch total, um, country life, total culture.
Looking back at this change, did you experience a sense of loss or feel you had to let go of something or someone?
Um, each time that I switched schools, I felt a little lost because I missed people, and um, I would miss, they're just that you miss the routine that you go through, you miss the types of students that you've made relationships with, and you've already had a pattern to how you teach and what you teach. So that was something difficult
Okay.
to leave.
Um, I guess out of all those things, what was the most difficult you had to let go of when you went from each place to place that made it hard?
Probably the most difficult was adapting to the way the school was run, because each school, had, even though it was the same school system, each school had a new principal, a different principal, and everything wasn't run the same way. The rules, the way you dealt with discipline, the hierarchy, who you would report students to for problems or who you would send them to for advice, even the physical structure of the building. Um, you had to always be able to know where to go when you had planned time, and if you didn't have your own room, and where to eat, etc.
During the ending or letting go, people often feel a variety of emotions, such as denial, anxiety, sadness. Did you feel any of these?
I felt a little sadness leaving people, um, but I was able to keep some of those relationships going. So in the end, I did know that, moving, the ones who are your friends would still remain your friends, and you would talk with them. The anxiety, definitely, most definitely. At the beginning, when I made the changes, it was hard, but repeating them over and over again, you kind of know. I mean, I was anxious, I had anxiety, but I knew ahead that if I persevered, it would work.
Did you also feel like any anger at the fact that at the people who made you change when you had
Yes,
to? A little
yes. I was, I
unfair.
was, I was. Well, I was constantly in South Bend. I was constantly striving to just be the teacher of French at a school, and um, having both on my license. It's like I just had no choice, and I was just told to do it, and so that, most of the time I wasn't too happy. I mean, I just made do with it and figured it out, but you just kind of get over it and just move on.
Also, I guess you talked about the building structure, so like disorientation. Did you also feel
Mm-hmm.
that? Like,
Yeah, the
did,
first week
yeah.
or so, it's just hard to get adjusted. You make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't remember names. You
Mm-hmm.
you don't know how to use what the copy system is, the copy room, and who does what. Every place is different.
Okay. During your time between your change and your new beginning, how would you describe your life and your experiences?
Um, well, it was hectic because most of the time I would have to move schools like within 2 days before school began. So it was always a matter of, okay, I have to go in the building, box it all up, fill a van with all of my materials, and and gather it up and then move it into the other school. So I was always, nervous about getting it all done. I would, it's always in summer, so there was always an extra amount of, I would sweat. I would feel, like
Yeah.
it was just a
Tough.
lot of
A lot of
extra
work.
energy I had to expel at that time. And, okay.
Yeah. So what could you describe the neutral zone situation you felt while you were at school? How did you adapt basically and eventually find your new beginning? Was it tough to go through all the changes and learn everything again?
Well, in the end, at Mishawaka High School, I came in and that period of time was a lot calmer because I changed school systems, so it made things a little bit easier for me. I still had the same emotions I had at the other school, anxiety, worrying about this or that, again, finding new ways to do things, in the building and in the classroom.
So would you say almost that you had, since you changed schools 9 times, that you had did you have like a letting go and a neutral zone and a new beginning at each school, or were you just prepared to change again and again?
No, each time, well,
Did you
I think
feel?
I went
Yeah.
through the exact same sort of thing. It's just then when you get there, you're dealing with new faces, new school.
Okay. Were there opportunities for you to do things in a different or new way when you were
Yes, most definitely. Each time, each school, either it was teaching a new language or a new level of a language. And so I like to have the environment in my room a certain way, so I would work on, adapting it with realia and different types of materials that would, enhance what I was teaching. And also my lesson plans and
Speaking of personal life, which was my next question here, how did the changes, I guess, affect your personal life?
well, my family would just kind of sit back. The dog would bark,
Yeah.
and they would just let me do what I had to do. But my children were young at the time, and they helped me a lot, really, make the changes. They just knew to pack up the boxes and move things. And when I would come home, I'd have to sit there and really spend a lot more time planning and preparing because it was new. And they kind of allowed me to do my thing.
Okay. And I think you talked a little bit about being creative, but you got to be creative at each new place you went to, right?
Right, and that creativity was, through the years, the creativity
Got
has been a
easier.
great thing. It's been easier, and also the beginning of the use of the internet through my career had just changed my world. And so when you're in a new situation and you need to find new things, you just search it and it's there. And so I'm pretty creative. I can do something on the spot, basically.
Oh, that's good. So you already kind of talked about it, but your new beginning, could you expand a little more on? You said it when you finally were at Mishawaka High School teaching just French.
The new beginning, you go in the building, they would introduce you to new people, and you'd go to some kind of training, and then I would talk with the department, and they would orient me on how things are operated as far as department meetings, cabinet meetings, they called them, staff meetings, and then I would be, some teacher would showed me around the school, and then I'd go to a staff meeting and be introduced as a new staff member, and I just had to ask a lot of questions because a lot of things weren't told to me, and especially if it was at the last minute, again, like this last time, I just kind of had to roll with the punches and ask questions as I went.
Okay, that was almost a little more neutral zone compared to new beginning when you felt like you really belonged. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
But I mean, that's good on the neutral zone a little
Mhm.
more.
When I felt like I really belonged, well, the people there in Mishawaka made it very, very easy for me to feel like I belonged because it's a smaller school system. There's only one high school. Everybody knows everybody, even in the administration building, and they were just kind enough to make me feel at home. So once, about a month in, I was there. I knew I was there, and I knew I had made the right decision.
Oh, that's good. How do you feel about the change process you have been through? Like, taking a toll,
It's
or?
a good thing. I mean, again, it's taught me to be flexible. Maybe it's just my personality, but I maybe that's the only reason I have survived this long with the changes because, or maybe it's just human nature. But I, was able to change, and I wanted to change to strive for what I knew I wanted to do, and to be a French teacher.
Looking back, would you do anything different if you had to do it all over again?
Probably not. It would just, it's hard to control how the situation